Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Thicky Tube. We've got an exciting week one matchup here between the sophomore Lil Luxio, fresh off a pretty impressive rookie campaign with the signature Garchomp of his, which had several exciting and memorable series last season. And then Herendai sporting the Tornadus Therian and the Ursaluna. What a deadly combo there, both specially and physically. Very bulky, very resilient. Excited to see what he can do with that roster this season. He's a scrappy veteran, and I think this is one of his best drafts to date. Um, we're going to jump right into it, see what these two can do. I'm watching this live, just like you are. Don't know the result yet. Tornadus Therian, Thundurus Therian lead matchup here. Genie's going to battle it out. That's an easy Ursaluna switch on the predicted electric move. But Thundurus does have access to that grass knot, and that's going to do nearly Ursaluna's entire health bar. So he's going to send in the Cinderace here from Lil Luxio to finish that thing off and, select the matchup he wants. A lot of people will use this opportunity to get rocks up or something similar, but that does give Herendai the initiative, and he's able to send Fortress in, who matches up quite well with Tinkaton, threatens to spin and threatens to set up hazards of his own. And something else Fortress has is a great pivot move in the form of Volt Switch, able to get Tornadus in versus the Cinderace, who sucker punches, expecting to be attacked and maybe just wanting to get some sort of chip damage on this Tornadus. But Herendai is going to nasty plot in his face, get aggressive here, and look to punch some holes in this roster of Luxios. And nothing really wants to deal with this Tornadus whatsoever at +2. Pecharunt's going to try to live a hit here, hopefully fire off a Malignant Chain. Goes with a Toxic, that'll work too, and does get the Confusion. And that Confusion combined with Bleak Wind Storm's accuracy, as we see here, could be a problem as Noob Saibot, the Pecharunt, recovers. Still going to fall to the follow-up +2 Bleak Wind, however. And then we're going to see Abomasnow to possibly threaten this out with an Ice Shard. And Herendai seems to be thinking along the same lines as he's going to switch to Necrozma. And the Abomasnow, the underrated Veil Setter, very cheap, able to set up Aurora Veil, and is quite bulky, especially physically in the snow. Abomasnow has a great sort of defensive profile and sort of mixed attacking profile it can take advantage of too. And Necrozma having a tough time out healing these blizzards in the snow with Moonlight's healing reduced. And Abomasnow going to eat another Future Sight, but heal some of that off with the Leech Seed. And here, I think Luxio's strategy is to sacrifice Cinderace and get Garchomp in there and pray for the best. Cynthia has done this to many children in the past, sending that last Mon Garchomp out and somehow winning the game. Will Luxio be able to do something similar here? Does get the Scale Shot boost. Going to be bulky enough to live this Bleak Wind. And now it's faster too, and this could just be GG, and it depends on the Fortress and if it's able to live a +2 Earthquake, but we could also just see Fire Fang coverage from Garchomp here. Fortress is going to come in and do what it can, and there's the Fire Fang, and that's going to be good night for Herendai. The last two Pokemon, Regidrago and Muck, and I guess the one downside about this build you've brought is that Drago and Muck were unable to find opportunities to do much of anything in this game so far. So will we see some adjustments for game 2, as Muck is easily going to fall to a boosted Earthquake from Garchomp? What a great turnaround victory there. Garchomp comes in, Luxio's down 5-2, sets up, gets 5 KOs there. That's an MVP caliber Pokemon there. And with that, we're going to go to game 2 and see how Herendai adjusts. So we do see Entei and Keldeo replacing the Muck and the Regidrago from last game, which I think is a good adaptation. You're sure to get more from those two than you would have from Drago and Muck. So Tornadus leads again, and got to be careful leading the same way every time in draft, because you fall to some, like a gimmick, like a Choice Scarf Hitmontop with Axel taking you out. And those type of adjustments, those can be what decides a series when you're able to sneak one KO like that. Tinkaton setting up the rocks here is going to be free entry for Ursaluna. That Air Balloon Pecharunt comes in, and Ursaluna gets the Swords Dance, and Pecharunt eats the Future Sight. That's a rough set of turns there for Luxio. That Malignant Chain going to do next to nothing. And Shadow Claw I like here over the standard Crunch because it's a neutral option into Tinkaton and Hitmontop. So I know many people may be wondering why you would use Shadow Claw instead of Crunch there, but it's a nice hedge option, and a +2 Guts boosted Shadow Claw. It's going to do a lot of damage to Hitmontop and Tinkaton. and those are the two that would resist your Dark Crunch. So this Necrozma, pretty bulky, able to really punish and abuse low Luxio with the future sight. And I'd say Necrozma, it's got to be the MVP of this series for me personally for the side of Herendai. Those future sights are punishing. It negates the screens from Abomasnow. Here, I think you're putting yourself in a bad position. I know you want to break down the Abomasnow with the Entei, but ultimately you're inviting that Garchomp in, and we've already seen how much damage he can do, and Aurora Veil is up. So it's probably good night here. Keldeo comes in, and one thing you could have seen here is possibly an Icy Wind just to keep that speed in check. But Tornadus is already down, and there's really nothing else on the team that's going to outspeed, but would allow Keldeo to deal a little more damage and also maybe win the 1v1. But that's going to be all she wrote. It's at +2 speed. No attack boost, though, and Necrozma is able to live that, but the knockoff, not going to be able to do much damage, and the Rough Skin going to take Necrozma out, thus negating the knocking off of the item. Similar to how if you Rapid Spin and die to Rocky Helmet or to Rough Skin, the hazards will remain. But Garchomp, an impressive showing here tonight. Even when he wasn't in the game, even when he wasn't at the front of our minds, he was always in the back. And it's something Herendai and anyone who plays Low Luxio is going to have to be cognizant of. I compare it a lot to, how you have to play around Battle Bond Greninja, who, if it gets just one boost, can end the game at any time. So Luxio did very well here. I thought Herendai maybe, game one especially, maybe played well up until a certain point. Maybe probably outplayed Low Luxio up until a certain point, and then Luxio really saw his way to win and then got a big sucker punch. Really punched Herendai in the mouth game 2, turn 1 with that Scarf Hitmontop, who didn't do anything else but came in and eliminated that Tornadus. And those are the plays you need to win a series and to steal a series, especially in a situation like this where Herendai was probably the favorite coming into this series. You got to do something to get ahead, and Luxio did, and I thought it was a very impressive showing. Really excited to see what that Garchomp can do the rest of the season. It is currently atop the kill leaderboard, week 1, position he's familiar with. Herendai, good luck to you the rest of the season as well. I like your roster a lot, and I'm excited to see what you do with it. Keep in mind, playoffs are top 6. 2 people from each conference will be left out, so these regular season games do have quite a bit of importance. We'll be back in just a little while here today with Swaggy Boy versus Staying Safe. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff if you like what you see in here. Thanks.